I'm Christy here at my Artful Adventures, and today our event is tie a knot, and so that's going to be a lot of fun. Now today I am going to do something very different that I don't think that you've seen me do, and I'm not even sure if I've ever done it. Let's go down to the desktop. Let's change our view here. I'm going to do some embroidery. I'm going to do it on paper, you guys. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done paper? I'm going to make a little tag. We're going to kind of do from start to finish. I'm zoomed in already so that we can actually see what we're doing. I think this is going to be fun. So I'm just going to take, I had this little square paper. Now, first off, this is not regular cardstock. This is some Strathmore 300 Bristol Smooth. Now, Bristol Smooth paper feels so much like cardstock. I mean, it basically is kind of cardstock, but it's heavier. This is 100 pound, and so it's heavier. This is going to be great to be able to work on for our thing. I had this little square already cut out, and I think I'm just going to work on that. I think, you know, first I'm going to cut it at 3 inches and see if that looks too wide for a tag. And no, I think that's perfect. Let's do that. Let's use this right here for a tag size. And then we're going to snip off the corners here. We're just going to do that on our own. And then I'm going to flip this over and do the other side. So I've got matching. Oh my gosh, if I can figure that out. Oh goodness. Came out, and that didn't come off like that. Came off like that. You got to be smart enough to do the tricks, right? You have to be able to know what in the world you're doing. And triangles, oh my goodness, if you get a triangle going the wrong direction, it is not the same as you just saw. Okay, that's pretty close. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. So now, since we've got this this is kind of wide, but you know, I don't care. And I just thought that it would be so fun to have some things with a little bit of embroidery on to stick in, you know, some different things. And what I think we're going to do is, because paper does not really behave like fabric, we're going to have to make some adjustments. So first, let's pick out some colors here. Here's a good green for, I'm going to do some flowers and, you know, and maybe some little grass or something on the bottom. So let's have a pretty green. Oh, here's a pretty pink. That'll be pretty for some flowers. I think, let's see. Let's use a little touch of one of these yellow or gold colors maybe. Oh no, you know what? I'm going to make some tiny little things with some of that purple, and or maybe even this color would be pretty. That would be a nice variety. Maybe a little purple worked in. And I want to put some blue around the edge. Let's pick a blue. These are all pretty. You guys, this was just in a pack that I grabbed. Since I hadn't done any embroidery in a long time, I've been planning to do something like this, and I had grabbed this over at the store, and it was a nice collection, just, you know, just like it was. And I thought, you know, that would be great. You know, I think I'm going to use this blue to go around the edge. But we're just going to get those out of the way. Now, you need a needle that has got an eye that is big enough that you can thread several strands. Most embroidery floss has 6 strands to it, and so you don't need the whole thing. Now, where's the edge of this? Oh, it's clear around here. Nope. Oh, here. There we go. I got that little hole there. Now, I got 2 of these that look like they have a big enough eye. Actually, it looks like there's more than that. I think I want a longer one. Why? I don't know. It's been so long since I did this. I think that's a little bit longer. Who knows? Maybe it's the same. And so what we're going to do is we are going to, first let's kind of sketch on what we're going to do here. And we're going to just do a little easy design. And I think I'll just do a little flower with the little loopy things we're gonna do a little loop stitch for our flowers. You know what, if I do this, it's going to have, gosh, I don't know. I don't want pencil mark under my, oh well, let's do it. Then we can see what we're doing, right? I'll just do it really light. And maybe I need to do this a little bit, and you guys can still see it even though it's really light. Oh, that's too big. For sure that won't cover. My little thread won't cover that, but if you do these kind of just really small, I think we can cover that up. And I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to do these. So we'll make one like that, and I think I'll make another one that is kind of up here, and we'll make it a little bit different. And I think I'm just going to kind of do a little circle, and we'll do some little French knots, and that's how we're going to use our knots today, is in some French knots. And so we'll make one up there. You know, no, I did think this through, but what can I say? Oh, hang on a second. I am so sorry. I don't have, hang on one second. There. That's the right view. There's the right view. Oh, thank you. Hi, Susan. Thanks, Ruth. Hi, Pam. Okay, so let's just do this. Now, I don't know. Now, if we went ahead and we punched some holes to start out with, it would be a lot easier because it's paper, it's not fabric, and it's going to kind of drag a little bit. But I don't know. I kind of hate to do all of that ahead of time. And who knows? Let's go ahead and take, let's split some of these so that we can not have so much to work with. Oh my goodness, I haven't done this in so long. And maybe some of you are like watching this like, what in the world is she doing? That's not the way you do that. Now, used to, I could take one of those and it would not be so tangled up. And really, the thing you really want to do is they have little cards that you can undo this and wrap clear around your card, and then you are not dealing with pulling it out of the package like this. Okay, let's just do that. And you don't want it too long. If you get it too long, it's also harder to deal with. Let's just try about this long. And then you're going to split these apart. You can just kind of grab them at the end and unravel. They're not raveled. Let's undo them. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can either grab yours out, like how many you want, and just take all three, or you can like pull them out one at a time. I don't find that way super easy though, but you can take them out like one at a time, and then it's not so likely that they're going to completely tangle up on you. And you can just pull like that. So there's one. And I think I'm just going to try to start with 2 strands because I don't know how much drag there's going to be in that paper. So I'm just going to pull 2. Whoops. And then we're going to combine them back together. You know, if I'm only going to do 2, I didn't really need a needle that had that much of an opening and have that big of an eye on the needle. Okay. We'll just pull that out just like that. I'm just going to lay that over there. And now we can just put these 2 together like this. And then just thread them in here. That is really a big, that is really going to I don't want to do that needle. If we're only going to have 2 of these, that is going to make a super big hole. I don't want that big of a hole. Tell me, have you guys tried this? I'm interested in knowing if you've ever tried this before. Okay. Let me see. Although, you know what? I don't think I can thread it in some of those other ones. I guess we're just going to have to stick with this. I might have another one I was using. Let me try this one. Here was a different one I got. This is a long needle. Let's try this one. That does not have nearly as big of a hole. And oh my goodness. Now I got to get my glasses. Oh, let me trim these. I get it super trimmed tight. Oh my goodness. And everybody's like, she spent 15 minutes threading a needle. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure I like that method. Somebody suggested that method of taking those apart, those strands apart, that it didn't tangle so bad, but I don't know. You guys, why don't I have a needle threader sitting here? That would have been a smarter thing to invest my time in getting ready, right? We're going to make it happen though. Okay, so now we're just going to do like a little blanket stitch around the outside edge. And you know, actually for that, I wouldn't mind going ahead and poking holes like for that, and then I can kind of make sure that they're somewhat even around the edge. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do those. We'll get started on them anyway. I need one of those little template guides. I actually have one. I should have gotten it out. Nope. Now see, look, I'm getting way farther from the edge. But you know what? I don't really care. Now that's going to be that's closer. But we're just going to get started on this. You know, maybe instead of doing the whole outside edge, I better... Well, we'll see. Let's see. We'll see. We'll see how our time goes. How many of you like to do embroidery? I already asked that, but then I didn't see any responses. Hey, Capri, how are you? Happy colors. Yep, that is sure true. So, you know, it's easy to get knots when you're doing something like this. So, really, I wanted to do the French knots. And I thought that would be a fun thing to do on a tag. And I have really been wanting to do some on paper because I just thought it would be fun and different. I tell you, I am not very good at these corners, you guys. Well, let's put another one close. And we're just going to do a blanket stitch around the outside edge. So let's see. And you know, if this is taking us too long and we decide we want to, now let's see, do I want to go, I probably want to start from the back, right? Well, that's perfect for that. That is a perfect size for that. And then we need to leave a tail. And then what we do is we go in the next one. Oh my goodness. And we catch this little part right here. Now we'll have to fix this part at some point because now we got doubles. Maybe as I come around the corner I'll be able, so I don't want to get that one too tight right there. This is very interesting doing this on paper, you guys. And now I just did that wrong. Didn't I? No, I did not. We catch it right here. I'm going to get in the groove. I'm going to get going here. Make it happen. Yeah, that trying to do it with in the marks instead of just, you know, coming up through fabric and not having to pay attention to coming up in a hole. That's kind of different. So you just keep doing that, and you catch that thread in the corner of your tag. You do it all of those ways. Now see, when we come around and I catch this one, that's gonna help with that. I don't know, I feel like I am doing this backwards or something. We're going to have to spend more time. If we're going to do some of this, we're going to have to make sure we're doing it right. This one is really messed up, and that's really bugging me. And I want to make sure that these are showing on the front side here. Well, I tell you what, this might not be my best work, but it's a foray into doing this, right? And then when we get this down, we'll be able to continue and do other things on our paper. But so you just catch that in there. And you want to try and have them kind of even spaced. This is very different doing it on paper, you guys. This is super interesting to do it like this. Okay, let me check my comments. What do you guys think? You think you'd ever try something like that? Why is that not giving me comments? There we go. Hey, Martha. Used to do it all the time, but losing your eyesight. Oh, eye problems. Yeah, that would be a problem. I'm so sorry to hear that. I haven't done it a lot. Capri says she hasn't done it in a long time. I just thought it would be so fun to try to do it and have something different on a tag. And you know, you can adjust these as you go along. Obviously, I need more practice doing this. More practice. You know, I used to do it so much and spend so much time doing it, and it just was it was easy. And you know, that's the way anything like this is. You spend a lot of time doing it, you feel like you're good at it, and then when you quit doing it, you just lose, you know, you lose all of that practice, right? So you kind of want it at the edge, and you know, I could fiddle around with those and make sure that they go to the edge. So I don't know, we'll complete this strand, and then we'll move on to the flowers. I'm not going to try to go around the whole thing. I don't think I'll have time, but we'll finish up this strand at least doing this blanket stitch. You guys, when I was in high school, I had several pieces of or several garments that I had embroidered on and made the thing myself. I can remember at least 2 tops that I had, and I think, well, one of them was, oh no, I've lost my thread. One of them was kind of a chambray type fabric, so you know, it was great to wear with jeans and stuff, and it had a bunch of embroidery up around the neckline, and it had kind of this interesting inset. Like it was I think it was a V-neck, and it had a little bit of a collar, but it had this cool inset in the front, and that was where I had done the embroidery, and I think I had done some on the sleeves. It was a short sleeve thing, and I had done some on the sleeves too. I love that thing. I've often wished, you know, well, 1, that I was that same size, and 2, that, you know, I had that. And I had done more than one of those embroidery things, and another one just had things. Do you guys remember when they had the sleeves that were, I don't know, they came together. They kind of had these things on the edges of the sleeves, and the sleeves came together. It was almost kind of like a little cuff thing, but I don't know. They were like this. like here's the sleeve, and then at the side here's the cuff, and it came out like this on both sides, and it had like a button on it. Well, that was kind of a small drawing, but then so like both sides of the sleeve kind of stuck out like this, and then it was attached like with a button. And so I had done some embroidery on the cuff of that as well. Okay, now we got to kind of go around a corner. Oh my goodness, I tell you what, this is not looking like I dreamed it would. Yes, we're going to have to do quite a bit of practice. Now, okay, here, this one needs to come up here. And a lot of it is just taking your time and kind of enjoying it. That probably, looking at this would probably be better. Like if you were going to do one of these, it would probably be better if you just rounded the corners on here instead of trying to make a squared off, tag like this. It looks like the corners would be better kind of rounded. It would suit your edge better, don't you think? How many of you guys think that? I think it would. And who knows, maybe I will have done enough of these by the time I get around the tag that I'll be more in practice. That would be great, right? Great to get back in practice and do this more often. I bought a little kit when we had pinners here last fall. One of the ladies had an embroidery business, and I just pulled that out again, you guys. That is annoying. You know what? I'm just going to leave that there. Let's just leave that and move on. Let's use our pink and do our flowers. We'll just do that. And this time, I think I'm going to try the other method and just separate it out. And, having the holes poked there like that, I'm not going to do this for the flower, and let's see how that works. We'll get an idea of, whether we really need to poke the holes or not. Oh, Capri says she used to embroidery down the side of her bell bottoms. Yeah, right? And that was a lot of work, but super fun. I think I'm going to try 3. I'm going to do 3. I'm not going to punch the holes, and let's just see. And mostly I want to know if that is just difficult. How about that? I want to know. Gosh, it's been a long time since I even did any of this part. Well, I don't know, pulling that out like that, it did make it somewhat easier. Because now it's, okay, so here, if I roll it out like this as I'm going and separating and then just unrolling it on the other side, that's a little bit better. Of course, it wants to come back together. Of course it does. And we'll just do a little bit more of this. There we go. All right. The problem is, can I thread it like that? Who knows? We're about to see. Now this one, I don't know if I can get 3 in the one I was using. The problem with this one is the needle is so long. That is kind of a problem. Let's go back and try this one that's shorter. This is certainly trial and error today, right? Oh my goodness, that was so much easier, you guys. So much easier. Okay, so now, I'm afraid, gosh, I hope I'm not sorry that I've got all of those little, you know what? I think I will at least poke a spot. And I'm just going to erase those. Let's try this. I tell you, I'm hoping I'm not going to have all kinds of knots from these threads getting tangled. That is not the kind of knot I'm wanting for this project. So we're just going to take this, I'm going to hang on to that. I'm going to make a little loop. I'm going to go back down in here into the same hole I just came out of. And pull it down here somewhat. And now I'm going to go up a little bit. This is, you guys, this is harder than I thought. We're going to have to poke a little hole outside each of those flower petals to be able to catch the edge of it. Okay, so now I can go up here, catch my little loop. This is probably not going to make anybody want to try it. Okay, now that, I'd like it to stay a little bit looser and more open, but I don't think I should have gone through that hole. I think that was a no-no. That actually has a risk of coming back out. Oh my gosh, you guys. That extra blue thing is going to drive me crazy. Okay, and then we'll just make our little loop. Go back down here. Ideally, we would not be going back through the same hole. If we were on fabric, you'd be able to go back, you know, close to it, but I can't risk doing the coming back and making another hole that close because I'm afraid it would tear the paper. Okay, this would go. Okay, and now I'm just going to go real close to it, but not right there. I don't know, it might have torn it. Yeah, I think it just made it really big. It just made it larger. We're just going to make these loops. What time is it? Poking through the paper. Right, that's very true. Mona says she pulls hers from the side. Which, you pull what from the side, Mona? I tell you, going through pre-poked holes is got its own set of complications. I think if I try and do it kind of loose, see, if they go through the same hole, you got to be careful and not pull too tight. And if you poke back through the paper, it's so close, I'm afraid that's going to tear a hole and it's still going to, you know, come through. So I'm just going to do it ever so slightly, like that. Yeah, look, here's this blue one getting knotted in there. There's a knot for sure. Oh my goodness. But just think, when it's all done, oh my goodness, look at that. Look what happened. It pulled it too tight through here. It came out the other side over there. Well, like I said, we're finding out its own set of complications doing our own design, right? Oh, Susan, that's a great idea. No, I did not say that. You could stamp a design. That's a very good idea. And they do have super simple, you know, stamps, little, you know, super simple flowers and things like that. And depending on, you know, what you wanted to do, I'm going to try, you know what, I'm going to use this again and poke one close to it. How about that? Let's try that. So you could use a very simple design from a stamp and do it. That's a great idea, Susan. I like it. Oh yeah, that worked really good. I like that. It's not as clean of a, oh goodness, what have I got going on here? Oh, somewhere I really got a mess going on. It's not as clean of a loop. Oh my goodness, something is really messed up there. I feel like it needs tape, you guys. I need to tape it down so it doesn't make a big mess and come undone. Tape will be coming on the back of this. Okay. I see knots in the future. And that has pulled from somewhere else. Oh my goodness. Is this another one of my what not to do episodes, do you think? Maybe. It might be. And two of these, look, two of them have got the loops are pulled too tight again. Okay, next time we'll just have to embroider it. I may go back to the to the fabric, embroidery on fabric. That seems like a better idea at this point. Okay, Mona has said something about separating. Oh gosh, if we got people that are still doing embroidery and have helpful hints, I'm up for it. Hang on one second. And you know, there's probably all kinds of helpful things, helpful videos that if I would have watched, I would have remembered, right? I wouldn't feel like I'm starting from scratch. This is really... I'm trying to get those loops a little bigger. And now this one is, I've split my threads there. Okay, well look, it's dimensional. It's dimensional. Okay, let's see. Martha asked if you separate the thread from the middle. I took that to mean, do I take the 3 strands from the others in the middle of the 6? If that's what she means, she takes 3 from one side. Maybe she meant from the middle of the strand, like when you cut it. Maybe she meant like take them from there to pull them out. I have no idea. That's a good question. I may have to be looking up how to do that. Yeah, this is really messed up here. I don't know what's happened there. But I tell you what, now it's time to do one of our intentional knots, you guys. Let's do, and I think I can, I'm going to poke 2 holes here. Now, this goes against all my being to have an uneven number in the center. But I don't really think I can do 3 of them there. Well, I don't even know if I can get that back up there through there. Because I've got such a mess back here, you guys. Oh my goodness. What a fail. Well, I cannot get that through there. I can't even find it on that side. Okay, here we are. Okay, you ready for a French knot? Here's our real knot. You take it and you wrap it around several times. I'm going to do 3 times. And then you put it back down here very close. Pull your threads down close to your surface like this. We've still got them wrapped around there. And then you pull this down. And then just keep pulling, pulling, pulling. And now you've got this pretty little knot. Ta-da! Now let's see if we can get our other one in here. I just can't. I've got such a mess there. Oh, there it is. So I don't want to pull too tight. So again, I'm going to wrap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now, the more you wrap around, whoops, I moved my needle. 1, 2, 3. The more that you wrap around, the bigger your knot is going to be. You know, in a second, I'll try. My grandma used to make these beautiful little roses. Okay, so this guy has got his strand split here, but there's like 2 of the little French knots. Now, I'm going to try to do a little one the way my grandma used to, and I'll show you how. This is, I guess this is becoming a little sampler, right? So, she would, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, I can't poke that. That paper, that 100-pound paper is too much. And I'm just going to take, I'm going to do 2 little holes here. Because this is a little bit different. This is still that French knot type thing. But this is what you do. You poke it, bring it up here. You know, I want to go the other direction. Okay, so now this time you do more of them. Like I'm going to do, I think about 10. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 8. And I'm going to put it in that hole next to it. And I need to pull this down here tight. But you want it to be farther apart. And then you've got more of it. So you've got a bigger one. And then you do that several times. And she would do several of those. And then together they looked like a little rosebud. I don't think I can do this. When have you ever heard me say that? Not very often, you guys. So now I'm going to poke this one here. And I don't know. She used to get them to where they would almost like go around each other, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to work. But she would do several of them together, and like I said, together they would make this cute little rosebud looking thing. Let's just try 7. So you got to make sure that you've pulled it down there. And I can remember I used to have like a baby dress that she had made some on, and my mom used to always laugh saying, you know, she just made the prettiest little, you know, flowers on things. Yeah, that's not in the right spot. Well, still, you know, I could make another, let's do 2 more over here. Ooh, I don't know if I've got enough needle and thread here. Because you got, by the time you wrap around, you always have to make sure that you've got plenty of room. Oh, I've got more than I thought. I'm just going to do 7. And then stick it back down. Make sure you're holding it. can make a whole little cluster of them. So then, you know, you make a whole little cluster and they start filling in like that. Let's call the pink done. So I'm just going to run it through here. And there, it came right off before I could get it knotted. I just wanted to, usually I just kind of run it through on the back and make a loop and pull it through again, and you know, then you've basically created a knot and it's not going to come undone. So I'm going to do that and trim that off so I don't have quite so much on there. And then we could do a little bit of green. Let's do a little bit of green. I don't know. It's easier to show than tell. I'm sure that's very, very true. We get them separated, that's what counts, right? I agree. I like to, you know, when you get these, I like to take 3 that seem to be, you know, together, because when you start pulling them apart like this, a lot of times it seems like they just are naturally, you know, like some of them closer together, and you're not like pulling one across the way. Does that even make any sense? Probably not. Mona, how long of a strand do you usually cut? I did not want to cut any that was, you know, so long that I was constantly fighting the ends of it. Okay, so there's that piece. I really thought if I could get that many in, I really thought that this needle would be great because it's pretty, you know, slim, and I thought it would be easy to poke through the paper, which it might be, but I just don't know. If I would have brought a needle threader, I'll try this again. I thought that it would be, oh, I think I did. I did it, you guys. First time, first try. Excellent. And here we could just do some little grasses. Maybe. Yeah, this is really hard to like poke through the paper. And you could just do kind of like a little back stitch or something. You could do long stitches. Let's try to do one that's about 3 stitches long. Boy, I tell you, this is pointed and it really is easy to, but see, it's so hard because, yep, that wasn't a good place for it. But there it is. That's too bad. You know what? I'm just going to take one more long stitch here and call that done. And you know what? Let's go back down through this same hole down here. And maybe we'll try to do like a kind of a little, let's make another one of these little loopy things. Oh, look, I'll go back through that hole and we'll make another little loop and we'll make it be a leaf. And then that won't look quite so bad. Get this back up here. I can't grab it. It's not wanting to come. It's not wanting to do anything. You guys, Cheryl is going to be up right after me. They probably know what they're doing after me. You know, we don't know unless we try, right? We just don't know. Whoa, what happened to my loop? Oh, what did I do? Oh, I see what I did. I lost my loop. There we go. So we'll just make that. And then if I go back through here, I can kind of make it look like it has a little point. Yeah, the pointy edges on this card are kind of a pain. And then we could go back in here one more time on this leaf, if I can find my spot. Well, I did, and then I lost it. If we come back in here one more time and go back through here again, we'll kind of just fill it in with one long stitch. That little, oops, I got out of the screen, sorry. Look, it looks like it had, you know what? This kind of made it look like an iris, you guys. Look at that. Don't you think? Don't you think it kind of resembles an iris now? Its little head is wobbling off down there. Maybe we could come back down here and put a little grass. We'll just do a little, we'll make some little things of grass. How about that? Little blades of grass just down here. You can make them just like different sizes. Let's put one in between here. You got the hang of it. It wouldn't be too bad. You know, I might could fix this spot down here. And make this look more like the stem is not tipped over. Oh, that makes me much happier. And then we could do some other little blades of grass down here. It's hard to figure out where you are coming up from the back. If you don't have a hole to see, it's kind of difficult to see where that is. So coming up with this needle that's kind of sharp, it's not too hard to come back through and poke that way, because it's plenty sharp enough to go through the paper. And then you could just do different lengths. Now that is not a fancy embroidery stitch for sure, right? I think I'll tip that over a little bit so it's not so straight. So there's just a little bit of grass down there. Oh, and let's put, let's go ahead and come back down here. Oops, did I, oh, that's the tail. Let's come back down here and let's make, see what I mean? It is really hard. Nope, that's not where I wanted it. And let's just, I'm just going to do one long thing right here to get up there to that flower. There, now we've got our other little flower. And these things, yeah, I tell you what, they all were different. If I was done with this, I would put a little bit of tape on the back because we've had some problems with the little strands moving around right there. And I would just put another little piece on the back of tape to keep them from moving around anymore, right? Phew, you guys, it's all, my time is almost up and this is all we got done. What do you think? You think you would give it a try? I'm curious. I am super curious now. Now that is really long, and if I was going to make some other leaves or something, I could do that now. I might just leave that just like that because, just because. And so all I'd have to do, and this is what I was going to say, when I usually do knots like this, I take it through here, and then I just grab, before I pull it tight, I just put my needle in through there again, and make sure that I've got, you know, this part, and then just come back through again. And then you've basically created enough of a knot that it's not going to do anything. So right there, I mean, that's plenty. And it's not going to come undone. So that's just what I do. Okay, you guys. Whew. Now, if I was going to come back around here, then when I got around to this corner, I could fix this. Although I'm not so sure. Like I said before, I think I would just trim these off a tiny bit so they're more round, because these corners are really, they were not fun, and they kept catching on the thread. So I would just do something really easy like that. You don't have to do a lot to, you know, when you're rounding a corner like this, to really make a difference. Even that will really help. And look, I mean, it still looks like a tag shape, right? So it's still a tag shape. Not my best work, but hey, maybe switch to watercolors. Thanks, Martha. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. You guys, thanks for being with me today. Let's go, and thanks again for being here today. And who knows, we might try this some more, but we'll have to certainly do some practice and find out some other things that work better, right? But we did learn some things today about this, actually. I'm not sorry I did it. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.